All right, recording is started. We have this morning Dr. Lisa C. Troy is a clinical professor in the Department of Marketing at Mays Business School. After earning her MBA at Texas A&M at 1988, she worked as a financial analyst at Exxon before returning to complete her PhD in marketing in 1997. She served on the marketing faculty at Utah State University and the University of North Texas before joining Texas A&M in 2008. During her career, Dr. Troy has published articles in leading marketing journals, including Journal of Marketing and Journal of the Academy of Marketing Science. She has received numerous teaching and service recognition at Texas A&M, like Peace Camp Namesake at 2023, May Service Excellence Award at 2022, and Herb Thompson Teaching Award 2021, among others. She enjoys engaging with students, advising both the Aggie Advertising Club from 2008 to present, and the Texas A&M National Student Advertising Competition Team 2010 until now. She also partnered with a startup simulation company to integrate AI-driven, fully customizable experiential learning modules into her Principles of Marketing course. There are 700 plus online students. That will be awesome if we will hear about this morning, I believe. So, Dr. Troy, please feel free to start your presentation.
Great, thank you, Armando. Let me, just a quick agenda. What I wanted to talk about today is give you a little bit of background on my AI journey and how I got started with this, and then a specific project I worked on as part of an AI learning community with the Center for Teaching Excellence. Show you some of the evidence that I found from that, and then some updates, because AI is moving so quickly. I've already got more things I'm trying to do and expand on this project. A couple of lessons learned, and then we'll have time for Q&A after that. So as Armando said, I started off my journey in about 2015 or 16 by teaching an online course, asynchronous, with 800 students in it. You think about that far back, there was really no digital tools to help us. There was really nothing I could do back then, except for students would read the book, they would watch some lecture videos and take a test. And so it was, and to me, marketing is a fun subject. And it was really sad to teach students this way, because there's just no way to bring out the fun aspect of marketing like that. Eventually, I found this third-party tool that was just mentioned called Cartito. And this is the first time I found something that really fit my needs. It's not a marketing simulation. Instead, it's a platform that allows the instructor to take their course materials and turn it into a simulation. So it's specifically very, very much catered to your class and what you want the students to learn. And they just turn it into workplace scenarios. So it's not just here's an assignment, do this and turn it back in. I was really happy with this. I implemented it in starting in about 2023, and I felt like I was getting really meaningful experiences from it. The students can now do hands-on marketing activities. They were able to get personalized feedback, which you could never do in a class of 800. And also what was really important with Cartito's kind of secret sauce was their algorithms are able to provide students with feedback on key soft skills like critical thinking and problem solving, creativity, empathy, and those are so important for career readiness. And so that was put to me kind of like an added bonus, but it's a really important added bonus that students can assess their career readiness. So I ran that simulation for a couple of times, and in the process, the very first semester, it was all peer evaluated, because it kind of like Peerceptive works. But almost immediately, the AI advanced enough that we could now have AI generated feedback. And so I ran that a couple of times. The AI generated feedback started getting a little better and better as we went. And so we were able to give AI personalized feedback, which was a lot more realistic, because the students would just be nice to each other. I felt like their grading was good, but their comments were like, oh, good job. Even if they gave them two stars out of 5, it was, oh, good job. So the helpfulness of the AI comments was really important. And so what I wanted to work on, being in this situation now, is this problem, was whether this personalized AI feedback can really help with learning in the flow. Because it's better if you can give them some feedback and they can apply it and try again, which is much better than, okay, here's how well you did. It doesn't really help them if they can't, apply it immediately. But I didn't know if they would even bother looking at the feedback. do your activities, you submit your recommendations, and it only takes about a minute for the feedback to show up, but are they going to wait for it? Or are they just going to kind of go on and continue? And if they did, was the feedback helpful? Is it helping them to improve their submissions? So that's what I looked at with this particular project. So what I did in the fall was I created 7 assignments, and that sounds like a lot, but really when you co-create with this particular tool, you send them, here's my learning objectives, here's what I want the students to do, here's what I want them to apply, and they come back with, okay, here's the simulation outline, and I kind of say, okay, or let's change this, and then they just turn it into the simulation for me. I had 7 assignments, but because I found the soft skills were so important, 2 of those were just general soft skills reflections, the very beginning and the very last one, because I wanted them to really think about those skills. So I had 5 marketing assignments as well. So that's their subject matter competency. Again, it could be any subject that where you're basically making recommendations in a workplace situation. I know that we have faculty in management, business law. I know there's some schools using it in nursing, and so the subject matter competency is what can be customized to your coursework. The way it's set up, it's a simulated marketing firm for my case. And so the students come in as a marketing intern and they rotate through different departments. So the first week, their job might be in strategy. The second week, it might be in product development or then in advertising. And the company and the product is easy to change out every semester. We have little pop-up video messages from their boss who comes in and rather than just saying, okay, here's your instructions, they come in and say in a much more workplace related way, here's what I need you to work on this week. And they get that information and then they continue on with their assignments. As far as the learning and the flow and how I'm trying to capture that, what my assignments were typically one of 2 types. Either they would have a preparation exercise where they might use a marketing framework, like build a SWOT analysis, and then they would get feedback on that SWOT. And then they would make their recommendations where the SWOT kind of helped them with recommendations. So the feedback's a little more indirect where here's your prep, here's feedback on the prep, and use it when you're making your final recommendations. And then they got feedback at the end on their final recommendations. Or some of my assignments would just be, there'd be no prep. It would just be make some recommendations on this, get the feedback, and then fix your recommendations, apply the feedback and resubmit. And then they would get final feedback. So one of 2 options there with the exercises. And the way I wanted to look at whether this was successful was looking at their initial submission scores and compared to their final submission, and also look at over time, their first submission over time to see if they were getting better, at the very beginning before they even, got the feedback on that next assignment. This is an example of the student dashboard just to show you what they see. The student has, they get an individual assessment on the components of their career readiness, like critical thinking, problem solving, empathy, and they get a career readiness indicator. This is because the Cartito system it basically rates pretty high. It's pretty rigorous because it's used by even professionals who want to do training and things like that. So obviously a first-time marketing student is not career ready. So their scores are pretty low and they freak out when they see their scores. And so they don't freak out as much when they see their career readiness level. And so I give them if you get the highest level, you get 10 points, or if you get, the next highest level, you might get 8 or 9 points. And so it's not as upsetting to them than if they saw the percent scores. The little spider diagram over here on the left shows their performance relative to their cohort. So they can kind of see what does that mean, for me type of thing. So that's what the students see. And the way I looked at it, I wanted to show you how the scores kind of improved. This is kind of the data that I looked at the end of fall semester. So with the first assignment, that was the self-reflection. That one was pretty easy. It's pretty easy to talk about what you think your own skills are at the time. And AI is not going to grade it. It's basically on how well did you communicate those skills and how ready are you, because it can't basically grade on your skills are good, or not, or appropriate for your major or not. So that one was pretty easy. The score was pretty good. Then the first real assignment came, and that score dropped down to a 55%. So this was a marketing strategy assignment where they had a SWOT to fill out first. They took the feedback from it, and they did see a pretty decent score increase here just by going from the SWOT to their recommendations. So it wasn't feedback and redo the activity, but they had to apply it, and then their recommendations were stronger the second time. On assignment 3, they had an unpacking activity. And then I let them redo that unpacking activity. And you can see a pretty decent score increase there, a whole letter grade there with it. And then they did submit recommendations, and it was not as high, but still stayed up there in the higher range. And definitely an improvement of, comparing a recommendation assignment to a recommendation assignment, there was an increase there as well. So that was the first half of fall. What I saw after that was they're starting to figure it out. I gotta move my people are in the way here and I can't see. Now assignment 4, their first recommendation was 88%. So they're figuring it out. And then the second one, this was not a prep activity. This is just a second submission of the recommendations. And so it stayed pretty high with that. Assignment 5, I didn't give them a chance and just let's see what they did. And they got an 89% there. So they're staying in the high range now. Assignment 6, they started high and then their second was a little bit lower. And by this time I could tell they were tired of it. They didn't want to resubmit. They're happy with their submission. Their grade was good. And I even saw some comments like the students would say in the second submission, see previous submission. Well, the AI didn't like that and gave them a bad grade because that was not the point of it, but it still, it kind of showed me that they're like, okay, they're tired of the resubmission by the end of the semester. The last assignment was in their self-reflection, so it wasn't quite the same as the other marketing assignments. So definitely a big increase in the first half of the semester to the second half. And I think the learning and the flow was really helping with that, but there's some other things I think was also going on that I'll talk about in just a minute. So to give you a little bit of detail, and also I got some feedback. The simulation asked for some feedback on their experience, and they did like even at the end of the semester, they did like that opportunity, especially early on, to get that enhanced resubmission opportunity. It gave them a chance to give higher quality reports, and they thought that was a strength. So this next, I want to show you how the submission actually helped, how that learning in the flow actually worked. So this first assignment was a student who was asked to create a target market persona. And this is what the student came up with. The product happened to be something called Mood Water, which is like a vitamin enhanced health beverage. And so this one is not, this one was okay. She didn't do a whole lot here. And the grade was actually a 42%. Now her feedback on this, I retyped it because it's kind of hard to see in just a screenshot of the feedback. And I highlighted some things that she was should have been able to pull from it. And so it told her that she needed to dive deeper into how their characteristics related to Mood Water. If you can read the key needs and goals, she started talking about yoga class. So she got the fitness part, but she's not applying it to the actual company, which is an enhanced water product. And so she's not quite there. And it also said dive deeper, go into more details. And so that was the feedback she received. She submitted the second one. And you can tell just at a glance, it's much more thorough. She's just done a nicer job. It is more thorough. The grade went up quite a bit because of the increased depth, but she's still talking about yoga. She still has not applied it to the actual product that she's working for. And so that's why she didn't score higher than a 69% on it. Let's see, the other example I wanted to show is this learning in the flow. And so this is a student who his first assignment was not very good. 20% is about as low as you can get. You can just quickly look and say, wow, this is not very insightful. And so then the next assignment, which is the first submission for the next assignment, it's getting a little bit better. Has gone up to a 66% with his depth of analysis. And by the fourth assignment, the first submission, getting up to a pretty decent grade. And this is because he's learning how to write in a business kind of wording and apply things that are relevant to what's going on. So I really like seeing the progress over time as well with this. And Armando, can I go for a couple more minutes?
Yes,
okay,
please.
I wanted to talk about the new problem. The other thing that I think was happening though with those grades really increasing in the second half was fall was the first semester that students really had easy access to AI and were learning how to use it. And I feel like a lot of them were, you can't prove it, but a lot of it looked like they were using AI, copying the scenario and the question, and then just copy pasting the answer they got back. And I think that's also some of what was going on. So and that's my current project. What I'm doing, I'm working with Cartito to let's see what we can do to address this. I don't want them not to use AI, but I want them to learn how to use it and not just blindly copy paste. So the first thing that I'm working on, which I'm really excited about, is a live chat feature. And what's going to happen is they'll have the same activity, the same short answer submission, and I can do a second improvement round. They'll get their feedback, and then they're going to go to their manager is going to pop in what looks like a Slack chat or and some kind of live chat, and they're going to start asking questions, and they're going to say, oh, I saw that you recommended, and they're specific to their submission. I saw that you recommended competitor X. We should focus on them. Can you elaborate? Can you discuss alternatives? Can you outline your thought process? Things that are getting them to have to think more about what they submitted. And so the idea is that this is not quite as easy to just, they're going to have to do a lot more moving parts to use AI to do all of this, to then keep that open and then like ask the questions and try to get that. So it's not going to stop the AI use, but hopefully slow them down and have them think about it. And also, I just think it's a fantastic soft skill, like to be able to answer more quickly on the spot like that. And so that's something I'm going to be testing at the end of the semester. And one of the reasons why, and it'll be one of my lessons learned, I'm going to skip this. This is actually a video that demonstrates it. I can, if anybody's interested, I can show that later, but I didn't want to take too much time. So I can show you how the live chat actually works if anyone wants to see it. But on the lessons learned, I felt like we can do things online that are engaging and fun when we have this customizable type of tool, and facilitating those soft skills with AI. The students struggled a little bit at first on how can the AI tell that I'm using empathy or problem solving. So I kind of built out a module that shows them and explains how that happens. The learning in the flow is viable and effective. I learned not to overdo it quite so much and have them have too many required second submissions. But we need to make sure students are using AI effectively. And staying on top of what AI does is important, because the reason I'm not running the live chat right now all semester is ChatGPT came out with a new release in October, and it allowed the students in the chat to ask the chat manager to tell them the answer, and it would. And that was not happening before this ChatGPT release, because something they did is overriding Cartito's ability to say, don't give the answer if students ask. And so staying on top of things like that's really important. So we're working on some other things, and I'm going to launch it towards the end of the semester to test it out and see how it's working. And I just want to quickly show that the AI is also improving so much. This is the depth of feedback they now get. So it's broken out into what you did well, where you could improve, and very specific submissions. And then also on their soft skills is broken out. So just wanted to show you how things are just keeping on top of what you can do, because to me, the AI is improving so much, and we don't always know what it can do, from our standpoint. So that's basically my project in a nutshell, and I'd love to just take questions and see what you guys want to discuss relative to that.
All right, thank you, Dr. Troy. Feel free to ask questions, discussions, point of concern. If you want to discuss, feel free.